bam, bam. There's a whole story about the t-shirts and the hats. It'll be on YouTube soon, but as of right now, the video about the hats and the shirts and the unboxing and what they are and where they're from and why they're here and all that kind of stuff is on my Patreon page. That video's been up now for 2 or 3 days on Patreon. If you are a Patreon member and you haven't seen it, go to Patreon. The video's up for this stuff and why and where and how. So Patreon members, also the second group of 10 that's going to get the live chat with me and Sue, you have been notified. It's on your email. I sent you an email on Patreon. I should say, I sent you a message on Patreon, and it tells you when we're going to do the live chat and what time and everything. So if you haven't been notified, go to Patreon and look at your messages. It tells you on there. And for those of you that are getting sick of the commercials like everybody else is, that is one of the things that I offer on my Patreon memberships on levels 2 and up, which right now it's 2, 3, and 4. 4 is the highest level. If you're on level 2, 3, or 4, all the videos on Patreon are commercial free. I cut the commercials out. Once I transfer, and I don't do all of them, but once I transfer some of those videos after they've been on Patreon first over to YouTube, on YouTube, they're monetized. Got to get that little extra cash in there. You know, I just can't be spending all this time doing these videos and get nothing for it. Well, Patreon memberships, they pay, they support us, and so I give them that little benefit along with other benefits. Also, the new Patreon members on level 4, I forget who you are, sorry, your mystery boxes are being packed as of right now. I think I've got your address, but I'm not 100% sure. I have to double check on that on the Patreon page. I will be sending you a Patreon message or maybe an email message. I'm not sure how you got your site set up. Do you get notified on your email when I do a message on Patreon? You're the ones that have to set that up. I can't set that up for you. But anyway, if not, I will be sending you a message on Patreon advising you about your mystery package, and I may need your mailing address. If so, you'll be getting that message saying, I need your mailing address for your mystery box. But rest assured, your mystery boxes are being packed. We will get them mailed out ASAP whenever we can. Also, let me just say, there may or may not, I don't want to say 100% sure, I don't know yet, there may or may not be a Wednesday Night Live this month in October. I'm going to do my best to make sure that we do, but if I decide to take off in a motorhome, I tried doing a live thing from the motorhome once, and it was okay, but I went back and watched it, and it was pretty shoddy. You know, the Wi-Fi is not the best, and glitches, and the games, I can't really do the game thing really correctly, and it's just really complicated. So instead of bothering everybody with a Wednesday Night Live this month, if I'm traveling, then I'll just announce later on that we are having it or we are not having it. I'm not sure yet. Depends on where I go and how far I go and all that. If I think I can get back here in time, then definitely we're going to have it. Question and answer. I get these questions all the time. Oh, by the way, and I also have some of these. See that? Bartenders down at Cody's gave me a bunch of those because he knows that I drink a lager beer. Let me turn around here. Yeah, Yingling Lager. I hope the lighting here is good. I'm looking on my cell phone. I got my GoPro 7 connected to my cell phone. It looks okay. Not great, but it's okay. Very cloudy day today. It looks like it could really open up buckets here just any time. A little breezy, not bad. But I mean, the temperature really came down in the last couple of days. We had a cold front apparently go through, and the highs has only been like, I don't know, high 70s, low 80s, maybe something like that. But more importantly, the humidity has really went down quite a bit. I mean, I'm sitting out in Lanai. You can't see it, but anyway, it's open. It's just very, very comfortable sitting out in Lanai and watching all the geckos chase all the bugs. Questions. It says, what does the bond assessment pay for? I got this directly out of the newspaper, actually. Yeah, the newspaper, I believe, the Daily Sun. It says bonds are issued to pay for the infrastructure construction such as roads, tunnels, multimodal path. They started doing that years ago. I hate that word. It's golf cart path. But, you know, they can't control anything. So then what they do, instead of controlling something, they just change the name of it. I had a friend that was a president of a bank, and here's what he did. Every year or every other year, whenever raises were due to be handed out, he was always looking for a way of saving money for the bank. He was an investment banker. He would give everybody a bigger title. People seem to be happy with that. So instead of being a head of accounts and receiving, or to be the head of say, auto loans, all of a sudden you became vice president of auto loans, or vice president of accounts and receiving. People sometimes are like sheep. It pays for stormwater systems, fences, landscaping, etc. required for the development of each district. Bond assessments are either paid in full or billed annually on your tax bill. I mentioned that on the last WNL, exactly what the bonds were years ago. I said it before. The developer always paid for the infrastructure, but the price of homes were a little more because to get that money back. And then they decided to start issuing bonds because then he could sell houses what looks like at a cheaper price because the bonds are set aside over here. You see what I'm getting at there? Okay. What does the amenity fee pay for? The amenity funds pays for the maintenance and operations of recreation centers, pools, etc., executive golf courses, community watch gates, along with customer services, administrative services, property facility management, safety services, and debt service expenses. The amenity fees are collected on a monthly basis via the utility bill. You go into the village's office to get your residence pass. You buy a new home. You go up and get your residence pass, which means they got to take your picture. The card's got to be made. They give you a gate card to open and shut the gates and all that stuff automatically without, sticking your hand out and poking a red button. Big deal, right? Well, that person in there running that office, somebody's paying for that. Somebody's paying for that building, the rent on that building. Guess who? So nothing is free, ever, really. Nothing is ever free. They talk about the free golf here, but is it really free? If you really stop and add everything up, the golf cart trail fees, just the amenity fees. Listen, I'm not putting it down. It's a great thing. If you're a golfer, this is the best of the best. It really is. I've been all over Florida. You're never going to get golf for this price anywhere in the state of Florida. But is it really free? No. What does the maintenance assessment pay for? The residential districts 1 through 13, are funded by the annual maintenance assessment revenue. The assessment provides funds to maintain the existing level of service and ensure the long-term integrity of the infrastructure and the sustainability of the district. It is billed annually on your property tax. In other words, when you come through here, one of the first things we hear from a lot of people is two things. First thing is, wow, I didn't realize the villages was this big. Well, I don't know how small you think 140,000 people fit in, but I mean, whatever. I'm being sarcastic. But the second thing you hear all the time is how clean everything is, how everything is neat and pristine, and you don't see trash sitting around. Well, all that costs money. Leave it to the residents that live here. You wouldn't see that clean, pristine area because stuff flies out of people's golf carts. They don't pay no attention. You'll see it all the time going down the road. Nothing big right now, but somebody's picking it up. Somebody is making sure the grass mowed. Somebody's making sure all the hedges along the roads and whatever are always neatly trimmed. They don't leave debris laying on the ground when they trim a tree or when they trim the bushes or when they mow the grass. It's all cleaned up. It's just, my district has that rule that when you hire anybody or you do it yourself, mow your grass in the front, your yard has to be edged. And they're not talking about a weed eater that goes around and trims the grass down. They're talking about an edger that go up and down your driveway and actually across the street. Everything visible from the front of the house, from the road, has to be edged. That's a district rule. And so a lot of these so-called landscapers that people hire that really aren't landscapers at all, they're not aware of these rules. And so they get to the point where they just, especially if you're a snowbird, you're not here to even look at it. So they mow your grass, they don't edge anything, complaints start, and that's where it all begins, like that. And that's why they have the deed enforcement, is because there's so many people here that really don't live here full time, that if the full timers weren't here to keep an eye on things would just get out of hand. You've seen the reports where people don't mow the grass for 2 and 3 months, and especially in the older areas up there. It's like the rules, and I don't know what the rules are. I can only assume that they have specific rules, like keeping your yard in a clean order, mowed, bushes trimmed, trees trimmed. I can only assume all of that, is in effect. Yeah, there's so many people that they just don't, and that's what the enforcement is there for. Well, I hope that kind of explains a few questions. Not all of them, I'm sure, but maybe a few. But as always, I've said, no matter where you buy, no matter what you do, the basic rules are in effect, I believe, in all the districts. But there are a lot of rules, like in my area, you're not allowed to have a sign in your front yard. You can't stick a sign in the front yard saying garage sale today. You can't have a sign in your front yard saying home for sale. Actually, the district people will come around and they'll just take the sign out of your yard and throw it in the back of a truck and leave with it. I mean, they have that right. I've talked to Zach, the real estate guy, and he puts up these open house signs down in the neighborhood to point people in the right direction to get to the house. He said he has to buy them all the time because the district people will come around and just take them out of the yard and throw them in the truck and take them because you're not allowed to have signs. Now, I know a lot of people are going to take issue with that. Listen, I don't make the rules. I just try to follow them best I can. But that is the rule. And I asked him once, I said, well, what about the villages when they put up a sign? He said they take them too. So they're not discriminating. That's the rule. Just saying. I got my little notes here. Another little thing I want to mention is Chitty Chatty Bridge is now open. Most of you have probably already seen the reports about the Chitty Chatty Bridge. And no, I didn't go over there for that either. It's almost getting old. Every time they have a rec center they open up, they got to have a drawing of a certain group of people. And they have their camera crew out there. So everybody jumps into the pool at the same time, and then they make a big commercial about it. And that's all well and good. But I'm not interested in it. Could I go? Yeah, I don't see how they could stop me. I could probably just walk up here with the camera and just do whatever I want to do. But it is open. So the people that live in the Chitty Chatty, and I'm not sure what area is right there on this side of the Finney area. I want to say Bradford maybe. I could be wrong, but I'll say Bradford. And there's maybe another village. Anything that's on this side of the turnpike now has golf cart access to not only Brownwood, but everything north of here, which would be Lake Sumter, Spanish Springs, and so on. David Kozak was a winner of one of the games we did on WNL. David, I packed up your stuff. It was mailed out. This is Friday. Your stuff was mailed out Monday of this week. So you may even have it by now by the time you watch this. There was another winner on the Wednesday Night Live show. And at the end of the show, and during the show, we said, mail me your mailing address to my email, and so I can get this stuff packed up and mailed out. And I never heard from that second winner. You never mailed me an email. Until you mail me a mailing address, there's nothing I can really do. And to be honest with you, unless I go back and watch the whole video, I don't even know who the winner was. That's what I always tell the people playing this, remember who you're playing for. And then at the end of the game, I always say, all right, who was you playing for? That person who was playing, whether it be Linda, Melody, Deb, whoever, they'll say, I was playing for so-and-so. And then I say, okay, make sure you mail me a mailing address and I'll get your stuff mailed out. Well, that person never mailed me a mailing address. So I'm giving you one last chance to mail me your mailing address and we'll get that thing mailed out. Also, let me just say, we had some kind of glitch in the YouTube chat during that whole show, I think, really. It'd freeze up and then take off and then freeze up. And I don't know what was going on. It had nothing to do with me. Nothing. It froze up on my end too. So my end, on Deb's end, and everybody's end was freezing up. So I don't know what was going on there. Whoever the very first person was that we picked to pick the 3 boxes, remember the 3 boxes? And apparently I did go back and watch some of the replay. I guess you were trying to get back to us, but we weren't getting it. During the replay, I seen where you were actually, it finally got downloaded somehow, and I saw where you were trying to get back to us. And I can't remember your name. I'll have to go back and check the video out to get everything correct here. But if you're watching this, and you were the first person, and I think you picked out box number 2, if I remember right. Actually, box number 2 was empty. There was nothing in it. But because it was my fault, I'll say it was my fault that we didn't get that information. Send me your mailing address. Put a little note on there to jot my memory of who you are. You know, I'm the guy that couldn't get back to you, something like that. And I will mail you some kind of a consolation prize because you did try, and I didn't see it. I didn't catch it until during the replay. So try to understand, some kind of a consolation prize. I don't know what I got in there. I have to dig around, but I'll find something and I'll mail it to you. So with that being said, I think this has been long enough. Hopefully the video, I'm watching it here. It looks okay. You know who you are. You know who you are. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And those of you on my Patreon page, like I said, the whole video about these and this is on the Patreon page. Go watch it. It's pretty good. The box opening and the whole shebang. It'll be on YouTube eventually. But until then, I'll see all you guys on the other side. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing.